I've met a lot of people, and you may be able to sense a little passion coming out of me, and that's because lately I've been traveling a lot. I've been on the road for about 6 months, and in the States every weekend, 3 or 4 different states, and here in England, you know, the last week I think I was at about, gosh, I don't know, 15 or 18 primary schools and different gatherings, and I meet a lot of very sad people. And today even meeting some of my friends I haven't seen for a while, and a lot of people who are feeling just very tired and very sad. And I think that when we get pushed to that point, it's important for us to reevaluate. And sometimes if we reevaluate the needs and the wants, we might find that we've been convincing ourselves that we really needed something, when really it's just that we wanted it. And because we're not getting it, I'm very unhappy. This happens to me a lot. There's a wonderful book which was written in the States. It's written by a lady. The book's called, and I forget the woman's name. I believe it might be Jennifer. I'll have to look and see. But it's called Believing as Ourselves. Anybody ever read that book? Believing as Ourselves? It's a beautiful. Oh, who is that?
J. Lynn Jones.
J. Lynn Jones. It's a beautiful book because this woman talks about her spiritual journey, you know, embracing the Quran, this quest to try and better the world and share that message and share that passion, and then the great crash that she felt after some time, and many of us have felt that crash. Many of times we feel that crash ongoing. Some of you may be in the middle of that crash right now. Some of you might be thinking, what's he talking about? God willing, you won't feel that crash. But if that crash comes, one of the reasons and one of the things that she isolates in her book and talks about is this idea that it's very easy to convince ourselves that we're doing something for a greater good, when really what we may be doing is fighting that struggle because of that validation that we're seeking, or that brokenness from our past that we're trying to paste together somehow through camaraderie, through companionship, through a feeling of, you know, how important it will be to be on top, or self-righteousness, or, you know, in a spiritual self-righteousness. And that can be very dangerous because, you know, that's not selfless. And to me, the act of being a Muslim, when we take that responsibility to begin to establish balance in our lives based on what, you know, God tells us, that this balance we need to seek out, that service that I'm talking about, can bring us down when we realize we haven't met those goals. Because really the goals have been more about what we're going to get out of it, you know, than trying to clean up the mess or bring the balance back. It's a struggle for me, and I'm not trying to speak as if I know all these, you know, and I don't mean to sound condemning, or I'm just throwing this out there as a thought. And I'm throwing it out there because I've struggled with those things in my life constantly, the balance and keeping that balance. It's part of why my family and I moved to Pakistan a few years ago. And people say, why'd you move to Pakistan? Everybody there wants to leave and you want to go. And, well, we left America at a very fragile time in my own life where my spiritual assessment was really very important to me. And ironically, I felt that a place like Syria would be a good place to go, because I felt if I go to a place, my wife and I moved to Syria initially, if I'm surrounded by people who are all kind of a part of this spiritual tradition, like the Quran and this Islam thing that we see around us in the world, then it might be easier for me to actually dig to the root of my own spiritual journey and the quest for how to maintain the balance, because I won't be fighting so hard to establish Islam. I'll just be living life. And in fact, that's what I found when I moved to Syria, was it wasn't so much wonderful to hear the adhan 5 times a day and that sort of thing.
Just a few minutes.
A few more minutes, sure. What was more special to me was the fact that I was able to freely just be able to think in my own mind about my faith and my life without constantly having to validate it. Abdul Kimurad, wonderful, you all know Abdul Kimurad, an incredible individual at Cambridge University. He said one time, it used to be that the kalima was, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. And now we've turned it into, there is no religion but Islam, and Muhammad is the prophet of Islam. And there's a very big difference in there. And I would suggest perhaps that one way that we can begin to better understand where we're going in life is to decide, do we want, what is it that we want as Muslims, you know? Do we want that prayer, you know, and prayer space in our place of employment? Do we want that, you know, masala in the airport, whatever? Versus, what is it that we need? What is it not that we need? What does the world need? And what then becomes incumbent upon us to give back? I'll finish off with just one other little story. When I was in Syria, I met a man there who was incredible. He was a good friend of mine, and he told me that a young man had come to him from Germany who had embraced the Quran and was you know, very passionate, but he was very depressed and unhappy. He said, this isn't what I wanted, this is what I bargained for, And this community is really interesting, and it's not what I bargained for. I'm not seeing the peace, I'm not seeing the social action that I thought I'd see, And my friend gave him some great advice. He said, you know what, go to the hospital and talk with some of the children that are in that hospital. Go spend time with the people that are in that hospital who are sick and haven't been visited. Go to an orphanage and serve them lunch there. When you put yourself in service, you realize very quickly that our wants are not really very important, because there's so much out there to be done to keep the balance of God's creation in order, that there's just too much work to be done in service to be worried and wondering about what it is we want. And by moving to Pakistan, I felt that in my own life. When you see Afghani children walking through garbage pails and bare feet looking for things to recycle, when you see the poverty, when you see the malnourishment spots on people's faces and so forth, suddenly a lot, air fresheners don't really seem to mean a whole lot. Sharia-compliant windows, nasheed recordings, these things don't seem to become as important to fight for and to want, as the health and safety and security of human beings around us. These are just my little meanderings and my thoughts, and thank you for giving me a chance to throw them out to you and share them with you. And I look forward to speaking with your children as well down the hall in a few minutes. Thank you very much.